Hello, America. So I was going for a while, and I was hanging out with one of my best friends, and he is white. And I know, like, everyone's gonna be like, "Wow, she has a white best friend." Well, I live in the Northwest, and the Northwest is not known for its large, diverse population. And I think a lot of us have white friends or white people in our family or white people that we associate with. And I I've known this guy forever. He held my hand while I delivered my son. So he's my son's goddad. And I know that might be shocking. Um, so I just spent like a couple of days around just a lot of white people, and it's really interesting. Um, I stand behind the fact that I truly believe that pretty much, I don't like to say every, but I would guarantee at least 99.99% of white Americans are white supremacists. And when I say that, I know it's going to shock people, being as I have white friends. And it's hard. Like, you're in, like, 10, 15 years ago, we weren't really thinking too much about race. And now, I know I wasn't. And I feel like my awakening process came within the last couple of years. That's when I really started seeing it and noticing it. And not that I didn't notice that there was racism, because I mean, I did. I had to sue a company for racial discrimination. I've been called the N-word. I went to, a predominantly white elementary school and middle school, and so you're going to deal with racism. And so I knew that it exists, just not to the extent, not to the extent of global terrorism, to the point where, you're dealing with white supremacy no matter where you go. There's no escape from it. I wasn't aware of, the systematic racism. I thought, there's racist people and then there's non-racist people. And I thought, if a person is, your friend and hanging out with you and pretty much not calling you the N-word, then they're not racist. Excuse me, I have to get some water. Um, Truly, that is not the case. But my friend and his family, I mean, they're really nice and they're welcoming, and it's not. I think a lot of white people, as long as you don't bring up racism and you don't want to talk about it and they don't have to address it, then in their mind, it just doesn't exist. It's not affecting them. They're not being outwardly racist. So the system doesn't affect them negatively because it's beneficial to them. So to them, it's just this great norm. And then when they're forced to address it, then you really see um, where people stand. And one of the things that I've noticed is not really talking to my best friend, but just talking to other white people. Um, there's this almost a wall that comes up as soon as any kind of white supremacy or racial divide or any kind of discussion in regards to racism. It's like they can't, if it's not this blatant, this person is a Nazi, or belongs to the KKK, and if it's not just that right there, that little basic, then they literally their minds can't process it. I literally feel like they are incapable of understanding it. They're incapable of empathy. And I've really been noticing this, like talking to a white person about white supremacy. First they when I tell them, that I believe white people are white supremacists, that first thing is like, oh, okay, they're taken aback, obviously, because um, I'm associating with them or talking to them. Then when I start to explain to them how the system is structured to benefit them, and that I'm like that's what I'm against. That I'm totally against white supremacy. That when I explain to them how it is global terrorism and how it affects Black people on a daily basis, they are unable to understand that, and you end up going into this circle of, well, slavery ended and Black people aren't have the same um, rights and the same opportunities as white people. And then when you go back to explain to them factual things showing that no, Black people do not have the same opportunities, when you start to explain to them that almost 700 years of oppression is what we have to deal with on a daily basis. No, I'm not a slave, but I still deal with slavery. I still deal with it. I still deal with Jim Crow. I still deal with, almost 700 years of stuff. And then it goes right back. Like their brain literally just shifts right back into that circle of, well, you're not a slave and my family didn't have slaves. And then when you go back, okay, well, now I'm going to explain to you how inheritance work. And so you explain to them how they're benefiting from slavery today. They cannot comprehend it. And I mean, maybe they can and they just don't want to. But sometimes I feel like they're just that stupid. And I mean, I'm sorry to say, but it just, if any white person is watching this, if they can just like send me a message and tell me why it is that you guys cannot understand the fact that because we are not living as slaves today, we still suffer tremendously from the last almost 700 years of oppression. If you have a almost 700-year head start of us, and you guys expect us to be right where you guys are, even though we're in a system that was built completely to hinder us from any kind of getting up in society, any kind of building wealth, any just everything, the entire system, whether it's religion is built to keep us down. The school curriculum is taught to teach your children to have low self-esteem and low self-worth at a very young age. Like, how are we supposed to be on the same level as white people if everything is built against us? And when you tell white people that they're like, oh, so everyone's against you, blah blah blah. It's like, we're sick of hearing that. Like, seriously, if you don't have anything educational to say and you can't just like break it down how the last 700 years have benefited us like it has benefited you, then just don't say anything, because at that point you're being stupid. So anyway, when you're trying to talk to a white person about your struggles, your the stuff that you face on a daily basis, they don't get it. Even like I'll say, you know what, racism is something that I deal with every day, and they don't get that. And then they'll be like, well, um I don't, I was with you all day and I didn't see anyone be racist towards you. Just because we're walking around together and no one's blatantly calling me the N-word does not mean I'm not dealing with racism. I just the other day when I was with my friend in we stopped by a gas station that's like in just like this crossing through this little small town, and I got out of the car and I'm going into the bathroom of the gas station, I think to buy some coffee or something. I went into the building, into the store area, and as I turn the corner, I hear two white people talking about, "Oh, your bag is so big. Yeah, that's your black bag, your black girl bag." It's like shit like that is not okay. And it's white supremacist and it's stereotyping and it's just not okay. But white people don't see the stuff that they do as a problem. To me, that's a problem. That's something that I have to deal with every day. I don't walk across the corner and hear black people talking about their white girl bag or something like that. Like, I don't hear that. And if we're all the same and we're all on this equal playing field, you wouldn't hear shit like that. You just wouldn't. It wouldn't be something that you dealt with. And no, it wasn't her calling me the N-word. And yes, I did find it racist. I don't care what anyone says. I found it offensive. I found it to be said in a derogatory form. They weren't like, "Oh, yay, this is a black girl bag. This bag is so awesome." It wasn't even said like that. And so, and honestly, I feel like white people shouldn't even talk about black people. Why are you talking about black people? Talk about white people. But point being, I deal with it. I deal with the little comments like that. I deal with when you walk in a store and you're being looked at. It doesn't matter if they're treating the white person thinks that because they're getting treated a certain way while they're with you, then you're getting treated the same way. Like, this is how you get treated because this is how you're getting treated while you're with me, which is totally different. You're not treated the same when you walk into a store by yourself than if you were to walk into a store with a white man. You're not going to be treated the same. So even though you're trying to explain to your friend or coworker or associate that your experience through life is different than theirs, they can't understand it. They can only understand it past what they see and what they've dealt with, which is the opposite of what black people are dealing with. Almost to the point where, like, my friends don't really have these extreme, like, no, racism just doesn't exist at all. But it's just this layer of stupidity that you can't escape. And it's like, do you just, like, dump all the white people in your life, not talk to your family or your friends or anything like that, and just, like, totally run away and shut white people out? I mean, I don't think that's something that most people are going to want to do, and it's not something that I think is the right thing to do. It puts you in kind of a hard spot because, to me, most white people are racist and they're evil and they enjoy the system just the way it is. Because if most white people were against racism and against oppressing black people and against white supremacy and against the terrorism that is inflicted on the black community by white supremacists, then we wouldn't be dealing with it. So I have to look at it as, on one side, these are my friends, they're people I've known for many years that have done so much to help me and so much, like, just being there for me. And then on the other hand, and then of course, like, some are, my son's family, and I mean, I can cut some of them out because I just don't like them anyway. But do we ask every black person to just totally cut every white person out of your life? Like, just good or bad, who cares? Just cut them out. Because I'm not sure how that would go and whether it will be beneficial to either side. But I don't know. It's a lot to think about. So just anyone, give me comments on it. Just let me know what you guys feel, and maybe then I'll read your comments and do another video addressing your outlook on this. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later.